Hey guys, so I never got a chance to talk about this, and apparently I guess I kind of waited, correctly to talk about it because we got more news coming out of the MLP camp, My Little Pony camp. First of all, I just watched Dr. Wolf's video, and apparently this past week, unbeknownst to me, and I'm sure a lot of us, we got more information on Generation 5's new series, Make Your Mark, which is of course the same title as the special / pilot / sequel to the movie. And apparently the villainous alicorn in the series is named Opala. At least that's how Dr. Wolf pronounced it. And we don't know the name of her, I guess you could say her apprentice, her protege, her minion, her sidekick, if you will. But apparently she is a unicorn as well, as far as we know. And it looks like she's being sent out to kind of spy on the main five and Maritime Bay. Basically win the trust of the main five over to her side, learn a little bit about them, mostly Sunny Star Scouts, as well as possibly find out, what they know about magic and everything, so that, I guess, for her master, her boss, Opala, she can, send that information back to her so she can, that being Opala, can take advantage of it and regain it, as she once said, as she believes it's rightfully hers. Now, for all we know, Opala could just be a name used by a character that could be somebody we know, but they don't want, their true identity to be known, so they chose this name. And I know people are saying, well, her being called Opala means she's a new OC character, and that's true. But again, we have seen this happen on several occasions. I mean, let's look at Nightmare Moon. Nightmare Moon was the name for Luna when she got corrupted by the magic, right? The dark magic. Daybreaker is the name of Celestia's corrupted side, as we saw in a royal problem in Starlight's dream sequence. So we know that the ponies take on different names when they get corrupted. So Opala could be a name taken on by a character that we already know, but we're not entirely sure on who it's going to be. Anyway, we got more information, screenshots as well to go with it. And I do agree with Dr. Wolf, and I do apologize for the train in the background, but I do agree with Dr. Wolf on this. I think this unicorn that's coming into the picture that Opala is going to send to win the trust of the main five and mostly the ponies of Maritime Bay, I do agree she's going to go through a starlight glimmer, sunset shimmer like redemption. But it's not going to be, like we've seen before. It's not going to be like, okay, with Starlight, it was kind of like an exception, if you will, because she began as a villain at the beginning of season 5. She began as a villain at the beginning of season 5, and throughout season 5 she would always follow unsuspectedly, unnoticeably Twilight and her friends, or just Twilight sometimes, thus resulting in what we got at the end. So Starlight's kind of an exception to where it kind of took a whole season for her to be redeemed and everything, for her to go from being bad to being good at the end, and then to really kind of hammer it home and to kind of say like, hey, look, she is good, and she's still got a lot to learn about, leaving her past behind her and leaving her villainous tendencies, in the garbage. Yeah, that took another season and a half. I'll give him that. I'll give him that season 6 and parts of season 7 kind of. And even parts of season 8 kind of followed through on Starlight being fully redeemed, because she still was still tempted by her old actions, if you will. Anyway, I could see them doing something similar with this unicorn apprentice minion sidekick of Opala's. I can see them, doing something similar with her. Maybe they'll follow a similar path as what they did with Sunset Shimmer and Equestria Girls. I mean, everybody says that they look at, Rainbow Rocks as basically the best redemption story for any villain turned hero ever. They liked the writing, everything they felt was perfect. So to me, I think what we're going to get is a bit of an inspirational piece here and there from Generation 4 into Generation 5 with this character. Like, they're going to take certain moments, and certain storylines, if you will, and kind of change them up a little bit, combine them, so that even though you could sense a familiarity to them, they'll be different enough for you to see that the plan in the long run is to redeem this unicorn who's being led down the wrong path. Now, what Dr. Wolf didn't talk about is we could be maybe in for a twist. We don't know, but the screenshots may say otherwise, but we'll see. But yeah, it definitely looks like, Netflix, Hasbro, they're giving, E1, all of them, Boulder Media, they're giving all of us the information we've been wanting for a while, some more information basically on what the villainous name is, what the apprentice, her sidekick, is going to be, playing, as far as her role goes in the series. As well as we also pretty much got confirmation of exactly what we all pretty much thought was going to happen. You see, apparently it's going to be 8 episodes in September. Now, it could be an every month deal, like 8 episodes in September, 8 in October, 8 in November. That's like what? Already 24 at least. So you could say maybe by Christmas we'll get all 24. We're not really sure. I mean, it would make sense, because if you're going to do the Christmas special in November and it pretty much contains spoilers as to what happened in the first season of Make Your Mark, then it would make a lot of sense to get the series done get the first season done by then. Because like I said, if you show the Christmas special before then, and you're still kind of in the process of putting out all the other episodes for the first season, then like I said, that's going to spoil what's happened. It's going to spoil what's happened. So it looks like it's going to be 8 episodes a month, at least. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be 8 episodes a month, or maybe it's going to be 8 episodes in September, maybe 6, 6 in October, 4 in November, and then maybe 4 in December. We don't know. Or it could be 8 in September, 6 in October, and maybe 8 in November, and then you get the special to kind of wrap things up. But again, we're not sure. We're not sure how they're gonna put this out there, but it does feel like that might be the plan, especially if Hasbro says, "Hey, get most of the season out, get most of the first season out in time, so that when you air the special, the Christmas special, people won't have to worry about being spoiled." Because if there's one thing that MLP has always been known for in its history, whether it's Generation 4 or even Generation 5 to an extent, if there's one thing people know that MLP has a tendency of doing, and that is, being spoiled because of certain events, because of certain things that are showcased before anybody else sees them, or before stories that they're associated with are even aired, if you know what I mean. So we'll see what happens, but right now it looks like we're going to start out with 8 episodes, and then the remaining 16 I think will be on a monthly basis, like 6 or 8 in October, 6 or 8 in November, and so on. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as they build towards, the 24 that, we know they're going to be building towards. Now, you might say, well, what if they hold off? And what if they go that traditional G4 route and say, okay, here, we're going to do 8 episodes here and 8 episodes here, and then that's it. And then they decide, okay, now we're going to do 6 episodes each, and then that's it. It's like 16, 22, or not 16, 22, but, let's say they decide, okay, we're going to do, 8 episodes each, every month, the first 2 months, or the first 2 months of its debut, which is September, October, and then they decide, okay, we're going to hold off until maybe February or March, and then we're going to bring out the final 8 episodes there. Maybe that might be the strategy they go with, but we'll have to see. We will have to see what they plan to do in the near future. But yeah, we did get more information, and I can't wait. I can't wait till the end of next month to see these episodes. And again, if it's a monthly release, at the end of each month, going forward for the rest of 2022, maybe 2023, I'll be cool with it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they bring to the table and everything. I will say this though, it's going to be a little hard for a lot of fans out there, because if they're going to do what we think they're going to do, and that's dump the first 8 episodes all at once, then the fan base is really going to have to hold back and be like, okay, how do we review these? And they can still do it the traditional reviewing way that they've always done. But then again, they might be tempted to do maybe 2 or 3 reviews and be done with it. Or they just might wait till the first 8 episodes have been binged by everybody before coming out and, giving their thoughts, if you know what I mean. Anyway, though, again, like I said, we got some more information, and it's got me excited. It's got me excited as to what we're going to get. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But yeah, we got the character, we got the name of our villain, Opala, and it looks like her minion, her apprentice, whatever, is on the verge of going down a similar path of redemption that Starlight and Sunset went through, but in a different way. And also, it does remind me of something else. There was a comic of My Little Pony Generation 4 based on the Student 6. Or at least one, it was a 2-part issue or something like that based on the Student 6. And they had this new character show up, this new female unicorn show up, who basically won everybody over, mostly in the Student 6. And she was only there originally to spy on the Student 6, spy on the School of Friendship, get the information she needed for her cause, or for her people, because they wanted, I guess, revenge or something. But as soon as the Student 6 taught her friendship, and she saw that, hey, maybe this isn't as bad as, I've been led on, or I've been taught. What did she do? She decided to kind of redeem herself and not give out any information, because she had learned the true value of a friendship. And maybe that's what this unicorn apprentice of Opala is going to go down the same path. Maybe that's what this is inspired by, for this character. We don't know. But like I said, we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. But anyway, it's good to see that we're getting more information on Generation 5. And like I said, I cannot wait to see what they bring to the table. Now, that's not the only thing MLP news-wise that got people talking. The other thing that got people talking was IDW announcing a new MLP series. That's right. And no, don't worry, the new Generation 5 Pony comic is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. But it is going to have a companion piece to it. And it's going to be a Generation 4 inspired companion piece called My Little Pony Classics. Now you might say, well, what does that mean? Is it a retelling of classic MLP stories from Generation 4, from the series, but in comic book form? Is it retelling of Generation 1 stories, but this time featuring Generation 4 characters? Not exactly. The way this, I don't know if it's a permanent series or a limited series, I don't know what it is, but My Little Pony Classics is apparently a new comic series that allows the ponies, the main 6, main 7, if you will, main 8 maybe, to portray and star in their own interpretations of classic literature stories, classic fairy tales, if you will. For example, the first couple of issues of My Little Pony Classics is going to be based on the classic novel Little Women. That's right. I don't know how many issues it's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be maybe 3 or 4. But yeah, the first story in this new MLP Classics line of comics is going to be based on Little Women. And when you really think about, the prospect of, IDW and Hasbro taking the MLP franchise, mostly the Generation 4 portion of the franchise, in this direction, when you think of the prospect of it, I think it's a home run. I really do. I think, honestly, it is a home run for MLP, in general. Because we've seen them kind of adapt classic stories before. I mean, Heartwarming Tale, come on. That's Christmas Carol, and they did a heck of a job. Alright, they did a heck of a job. Best Gift Ever, technically was sort of adapted from the Gift of the Magi. Inspiration from that. So to go in the direction they want to go with this classic series, again, I think it's good. I think it's a good idea. I like it. I love the idea that they're going to, take the characters and put them into environments, into worlds that you wouldn't expect to see them in. You wouldn't. I mean, would you expect to see them in something like an adaptation of Little Women? No. And they're putting their own little twist on it a little bit. Like, they're going to probably follow the story somewhat to a T, not really, but they're going to put the little twist on it, just like I said, just like they did with, Heartwarming Tale, Christmas Carol, if you will, and the Gift of the Magi kind of, inspiration that they put into Best Gift Ever. So they're going to put their own little twist here and there. There is no doubt about it. But the question obviously is, what else could they adapt? What other, what other classic stories could they adapt for this classics line? What other stories could they adapt for this classics line going forward after they do Little Women? Well, honestly, like I said, the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless of, what they could adapt. Of what they could, bring to life in the pages of the comics, down the line. Especially when it comes to this classics line. The possibilities are endless. The sky is the limit, if you will. I mean, think about it. They've already done, sort of, in a way, a Christmas Carol. But what if they did the actual Christmas Carol? Not just Heartwarming Eve, the way we saw it in Season 6, but basically, well, Heartwarming Tale, as we saw in Season 6, but basically, what would it be like if they fully adapted Christmas Carol, I wouldn't say line for line, scene by scene, but adapted it enough to where you knew, okay, this is Christmas Carol as we know it, as we believe, as we've grown up to see it, as we've been, accustomed to be used to, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they could do something like that. They could adapt other stories as well, like David Copperfield, Charles Dickens' David Copperfield, if you will. They could, what else could they adapt? They could, they could adapt Lord of the Flies. That would be something. That's a classic. Romeo and Juliet. How they would do that is anybody's guess. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Sparity fans wouldn't mind a Romeo and Juliet with Rarity as Juliet and Spike as Romeo. I don't think any fans wouldn't mind that. They could do Hamlet, if you will. They could do The Outsiders in a way, but with their own little twist. S.E. Hinton's Outsiders, they could do that. I mean, again, the possibility is, it's endless. It really is. They could do Miracle on 34th Street, if you will. They could do Wonderful Life. I mean, again, the possibilities are limitless for whatever they could do with this classics line. It really is. And what's crazy is it could even wake up interest by Hasbro to, animate these classic stories that they're adapting into specials in the future. To, stand alongside, G5 and kind of let people know, hey, we've not forgotten about G4, and here's our way of showing that. So, anything is possible, in my opinion, with this MLP Classics series by IDW and Hasbro. But I'm looking forward to it. I know Little Women isn't everybody's cup of tea, but for them to even adapt something like that might go over the heads of the younger fans, but not the older fans. I think, honestly, I think it's a great move. And like I said, all the other classic stories that are out there, even the ones I've mentioned, are primed for the adapting when it comes to a series like this. Because you could just imagine who would play what roles in those adaptations. I mean, it's just like I said, it's just endless. The possibilities are limitless, and there's so much fun to have out of it. So much creativity. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are, though. My bus is going to be here in a little bit, guys. But let me know what your thoughts are on both these news items, on what we've learned about with MLP Make Your Mark and the name of our villain, and the possibility of the direction they're going to go with this unicorn apprentice of hers. Let me know what your thoughts are there, as well as let me know what your thoughts are on IDW and Hasbro's MLP Classics line, featuring the main 4, the main 6, main 7, main 8, if you will, in adaptations of classic literature or classic stories in general. And what other classic literature or stories in general do you think could be adapted with this series? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, guys. And until next time, I will talk to you later. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere, where super chats and super stickers will be open and appreciated. But again, guys, let me know what your thoughts are